And I think that's a great thing. Anytime they, they're in options, right? Yeah, they're index options. So you can use market structure. A lot of options traders use market structure to trade options, right? So, we can whatever you trade, we can craft a trading method around methodology around, your account size and your risk and your skill level. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just see this here. Well, this is pretty cool. I'll take a look at it. I don't know much about it, but I'll dig into it.
All right, so
Yeah.
we have our next question from Maxis.
Hey, Maxis is on mute. While Maxis figures out how to, uh, figures his mic situation. Can I ask a different question? AJ,
Sure.
this is Raghu. So, some of us have blown up our accounts trading, and we always, think that, there's going to be a reversal at a certain time, and then it goes against our position, right? You think it's going to be long, and then it keeps falling down. You kind of average down a little bit, and then at a certain time you like give up hope and you close out, and then
Yep.
just a few minutes later it turns out you were right, and then it turns up again. So how do you?
That is very frustrating. And it happened to me when I first started retail trading. The way you work around that and how you get past that is you learn about things like inventory and market structure, right? And then, because remember that we're day traders, right? Or day trade, any kind of trader is a business person. And we're trying to operate in a business environment. So we have to make smart business decisions. So trading is about making good business decisions. A lot of people look at these charts and they don't realize that there are actual business transactions that are creating the chart. The chart is basically the result of business transactions. It's a sales chart. It's telling you where the size traders have a cost basis and where they're moving it. Now, every market is the same, right? What is the goal of a market? To bring in a bunch of really cheap crap and sell it at higher prices, right? That's why it's called the stock market, right? So the way you get around that, my friend, is you learn where the stops are structurally using TPO charts. You can use 5-minute, 1-minute candles to see small changes in inventory. If you don't know what inventory is, then you got to learn, because inventory is what moves the market. Especially in a futures-based product, it's all inventory pushing the market back and forth. Large traders acquire cheap inventory in size, and then they stop selling, the market runs up, and they dump it into the people who chase price, us, right? So we don't chase price, right? We look to see how price reacts at certain levels before we risk capital, right? I know exactly what you're talking about, right? You'll be buying and buying and buying. You get stopped out. You hit your maximum praying threshold. Then the market turns and rips it happens to so many people, and that's because their trade location is bad, the risk management is bad, and that's just because they haven't been taught, right? And these are things that I learned a lot over the years, and a lot of trading rooms and a lot of trading places, they talk about all these crazy flowery things, but it actually doesn't put money in your account. So I focus on, where are you right now currently in the market? Where is the price, right? Where is the inventory? Is it above you or below you? Where are the structural stops? And what are the large traders doing? It's very, very easy to see once you know what to look for, right? Profile can help, and then candle charts using a volume profile in the candle can really tell you where short-term inventory corrections are going to happen. And inventory, my friend, is what moves the market, right? There's nothing else, right? Markets go up to sell size, right? When we take a market up, we're taking it up to create demand. So when we're taking a market up, you want to be selling from a long position into that buying, not chasing the price up, right? And when markets fall, where you want to buy the dip, you want to wait until they stabilize. When they fall and the short sellers come in to cover, that's what stabilizes a market, because shorts are always the first to buy, because they are they're a a closing transaction. So it's a risk-off transaction. So they're always the canary in the coal mine. They jump in to buy first, and then that stabilizes price. And if supply stops, then that's when we jump in. And over time, learning that sort of thing is really, really essential. Otherwise, you're just buying in places where you don't know. It's all about supply, right? In markets, if there's supply, we can short. If there's no supply, we have no business being short. And if there is a ton of supply, we got to get the heck out of the way if we're long and let that supply flush itself out.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. So next question we have from Srivatsan. Guys, if you have a question, yeah. Hi, Srivatsan.
Hi, sir. Sir, can you describe yourself, sir, whether you are a positional trader or intraday trader? And if so, can you explain your last trade if it is possible?
Sure. I'm sorry. Did you say discretionary?
No, positional or
Oh, in the S&P E-mini market with the ranges we have right now, I am a point-to-point, stop-to-stop, get in, get out, get paid trader. So if you have a 40 or 50 point range in that, I will not try and hold the trade for that whole range. I will cut it up into digestible pieces and trade using the order flow and the inventory between stops. If we had a chart, I would kind of show you. I do a lot of the look below and fails when we come back up. If you, in the S&P, there's a night session and a morning session. So if we look below the previous day's low, and then you see short covering come in, because my job is to know where the buying and selling is. So once I see that there's buying in a certain area by either shorts who are coming in to cover at certain places, like where the stops are, right? Or like a previous day low. If you break a previous day low, the short sellers are going to come in and cover. So I'll watch that. If price stabilizes, then I'll see the long size wholesalers jump in and start absorbing inventory. Then I'll jump in, and then when they push the market higher, I sell into that strength. So I'm very much a point-to-point trader. I do not hold positions overnight. Because I'm 54 years old and I had a heart attack 10 years ago, I like to sleep at night. And there's plenty of money to be made in a 23-hour trading session. You can trade at night, you can trade in the daytime in the S&P E-mini.
excellent. Next question from Mr. Sarathi KP. Okay. Anyone who wants to ask a question right now need to unmute. So I know, Maxis, you've been trying for quite some time. Do you want to unmute and then speak up?
Okay, shall I ask? Hi, sir.
Hi,
Yeah,
how
hi.
are you?
Hi.
What do you call yourself, VWAP trader? Does VWAP have much significance when compared to the order flow?
Well, VWAP it's interesting. VWAP stands for volume weighted average price. And VWAP is everything in the US capital markets, right? So for example, if you were a fund manager and I was one of your executing traders, right? And you said, JJ, look, I want you to buy 1 million shares of this stock, right? My job would be to get you prices underneath VWAP, right? If you told me to sell 1 million shares of that stock, my job is to work that order to get you prices that are better than VWAP, right? So then you'll call me tomorrow and give me more business, right? VWAP is also how companies are financed. So say you had a pharmaceutical company that traded on NASDAQ at say $20 or $30 a share, and you need to raise $30 million. Well, what we do is we look to get you a financing, right? And the financier would want a discount to the 14-day VWAP of the stock, right? So VWAP is sort of the industry standard.
Okay, in continuation to that, shall I ask one more question? When we consider owning the long-term stocks, we could use the anchored VWAPs.
Yes.
So from where the anchoring is more ideal? Is it from the recent top or recent bottom?
You know what? There's a trader called Brian Shannon, and he introduced anchored VWAP to us. He's a great guy. And I got a little carried away with it. I started anchoring it all over the place. Now, for my purposes, right, what I do is I just, for the day, I always anchor VWAP at the Globex Open, right? But for longer term traders, right, if you just run a simple 14-day VWAP, that works too, right? But also, depending on your time frame of trading, you really want to be aware of the inventory and the structure of that market. And that's where market profile, the concepts of market profile, that you don't have to use market profile. You can use a candle chart, but the concept of inventory is everything in longer term trading too. Because if you're long a stock at $5, right, and it gets up to 6 or 7 or 8, and at 8, you guys might say there's resistance at 8, and usually that'll be because if you look to the left of the chart, for months and months and months, it traded above 8, then it went down to 5. Then when it comes back to 8, you're going to hit an area of supply. So I look at supply and demand zones along with, I don't really use VWAP for long-term trading, right? I'll use market structure. And then of course, if you're an investor, especially in American companies, you really want to read the SEC filings and look to see if your investment is being diluted. Because if you look at companies like PLTR, PTON, WISH, all of those companies have been morbidly diluted by the insiders who keep issuing themselves free stock and selling it into the market when retail people are buying it at market prices. They're selling zero cost stock into the market.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a doubt actually. I need your guidance regarding volume profile. Along with using volume profile, what sort of combination derive high conviction in live markets?
Sorry, for volume profile, could you repeat that? You just cut out for a little bit.
I think we lost him. All right.
Oh.
So what? Yeah.
So yeah, along with using volume profile, what sort of combination for sake of
Oh,
conviction we can use? I'm asking
okay.
about.
Okay, so when I use volume profile, this is a really good question. What I do is I'll put the volume, depending on your time frame, right? I'll look,
Yes.
like if you're a day trader, I'll put volume profile on a 5-minute chart at the beginning of a session, and I'll track it to the end of that session. And what I'll do is I'll look and see where the cost basis of the size traders is. So if we trade a lot of volume between say $3 and $5, and then we break over 5 up to 7, right? What that means is the cost basis of the large traders who have accumulated a position between $3 and $5 are going to sell it up at 6, 7. And they'll sell the market all the way back down to that cost basis where that large volume node is, right? Now, if they sell the market down to that area, that's usually a good buy because they'll stop selling. What you look for is if there's an outside seller or another source of supply, because if there's an outside seller, the market will break through that large volume node, which is the cost base of those traders, and it'll continue down to say $2. That means you know that there's dilution happening in the market. So a lot of people use volume profile and they talk about nodes and things like that, but they don't actually understand what those nodes represent. The nodes actually represent the cost basis of the size traders who actually move price. I've got some examples on Twitter that I posted the last couple of days if you check out my Twitter page.
Sure, sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
And I'll be doing a video on that this week, and I'll post it on Twitter. And I do have a TikTok. It's not very, it doesn't get much traction, but I'm just learning how to use it. So
Being the host, I'm going to kindly slip one of my questions in. When are we going to see the first Nifty chart from you, JJ?
I need to get with Raghu and get him to show me exactly how that market operates, and I'd love to do some levels up for it. Definitely.
Okay. All right.
It'll definitely be in. I'll start on that this week. Definitely.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Bhavin.
Yeah, thanks, admin. So my question is that, for example, let's say a market is nearing the supply zone or demand zone, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes it does this fake breakout kind of thing, right?
Aha.
The problem that happens usually is that when it's just trying to sneak out of that zone, you don't know whether the fresh buying or selling is coming, or it's triggering the stop losses of the people who just put it over there, right? So is the
Bingo.
momentum going to sustain, or it's just
Exactly.
going to drop out?
Exactly.
And
That's a
it's a
great.
quagmire to trade, actually. So if you provide
Exactly.
any input.
Now, what retail traders call a breakout, people in the industry call a stop run, right? So say a stock is trading, or any instrument is trading between maybe 5 and 6, right? And those size traders have accumulated a net position in that 5 to 6 range, right? Then what they'll do is they'll run the stops, right? And that creates that breakout. And when you run the stops, the shorts are forced to buy in. When the shorts buy in, we sweep the book and the shorts buy in, and then retail comes and chases price, and we sell into that, right? So that's why a lot of the times I've never traded breakouts, right? When I see a breakout, I sell my long position into that breakout, because that's what we're taught to do institutionally, right? We use that stop run or that breakout is a liquidity creation mechanism in our business, so we can sell our position into buying. That's why I never buy a breakout. Shorting it is another thing, but when I see a breakout, I should be long before we break out, and then I'll sell into that breakout, because that's what
Got it.
it's meant to do, right? You run the stops. If you ever watch, there's an old gentleman by the name of Mark Douglas, who does incredible YouTube videos. He's not with us anymore, unfortunately. May he rest, but he explains how large traders will run the stops to create the buying, to unload their position into people who must short cover, and and people who chase price. That's why I've never bought a breakout, because we know we always sell our size into the breakout.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. No problem.
So, being an intraday trader, do you consider the imbalances in the order flow chart to take a trade?
When I hear imbalance, I want to grab somebody a Prozac and send them to a psychiatrist. I've never heard of this imbalance thing. I know it's popular with footprint traders, but it's not something that we use institutionally. All I need to do is look at the TPO chart, and I can tell exactly where the stops are, right? And I'll also watch a candle chart with my levels on it and see how price reacts when it gets to those levels. And it tells me everything I need to know about the order flow at that level. I've never understood this imbalance thing. Sorry, I don't mean to like mock it or anything like that, but it's just something that's never been used institutionally. And so I'm not really familiar with it. Now, I know footprint charts are really cool and they have their place, but I always look at where the inventory is, and whether or not that inventory has finished selling off, or if it's been accumulated to take higher to sell. So I don't trade actually off a footprint chart. I find them fascinating to look at, but and then I hear things like imbalances and unfinished business and things like that, which, and unfinished business is something that gets a lot of people into trouble. So that's why I kind of stay away from that stuff.
Okay, sir.
Next question is from Mr. Tyagarajan.
Hey JJ, for a newbie, what would you suggest if we want to learn market profile and market structure?
Well, Market profile and market structure will, once you learn it, it'll make your life so much easier. Now, Dalton's book is great, but it's written 30 years ago, and I love Jim, and it's kind of hard for new people to understand that. So that's why, I started this trading room where we teach people from brand new how markets work, right? Because if you learn the business a little bit, it'll show you how the business creates the chart that you're trading, right? And the structure. See, those market profile charts, basically what they are is a two-dimensional time in sales, right? You know how people used to watch the tape 100 years ago, that ticker tape, right? They'd watch price, right? What market profile does is it takes that ticker tape and it takes those transactions and it puts them into a shape that you can trade off of. The shapes tell you things. Like P profiles tell you that there's short covering, that shorts are trapped under the base of the P. Structurally, you can see it, and once you see it, it makes sense. So you know where to expect buying when a market falls, right? And then if the market falls through that area, you can tell if there's supply. I teach this stuff. I'm on Zoom 3 hours a day. I do the London Open, which is 7:30 GMT, and I also do the New York Open for a couple of hours. So I do like 3 hours of Zoom every single day where people see my screen and I teach them exactly what to look for and how to do that. And I don't really know if there are other people who do that I could recommend anyway. As far as market profile books, Mind Over Markets of Jim Dalton's is a classic. And it's a good primer, but I don't mean to sound advertorial, but come spend a month with me, and for less than a pizza, we keep the price really, really low so people can learn. And it's well worth your while to check it out. Because what I do is I not simplify it, but I distill trading down to the simplest forms and focus on what you really, really need to know. Because a lot of trading education these days is taught by people who've never actually sat at a trade desk. So they don't know how prices move. They don't know what moves price because they've never moved it. So they'll come up with all sorts of formulas and things like that. And it's very, very frustrating. Market profile is one of the harder things to learn because the education that has been out over the last 30 years is very sort of scholastic, right? It's not really real world under fire. So, come hang out with us for a little while and see how you like it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So the next
Am
question.
I audible?
Yes, Maxis, you are audible.
Vanakkam Anna. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Two queries. First one is, can you be doing a session for the Indian market? I understand that you are trading full time. So we can just go on a bar replay kind of thing, a minute bar replay kind of thing, and just see one day session or maybe a few hour session.
I
We
would
just
love
make a
to.
bar. Okay. And second is, of late there was a recording of yours when you were doing the open session of the market. Uh, I I'm not sure, you are the expert. Just to fizzle in the mind, what is it that you need to look out for if you want to do a trade at the open, say first 5 minutes? What
Yep.
is it that you need to see to be there for you to take a trade?
Where the
Thank you.
inventory is. Great question. I have a checklist actually, right? I have a checklist that we go over every morning before the market opens. And in that checklist, we'll say, we'll look at the overnight inventory in a futures market, for example. We'll go, is the overnight inventory long or short or balanced? Are we opening in and out of the previous day's range? Are we opening in and out of value? Where was the wholesale position at the close yesterday? What happened to that position in the overnight session? Where are retail traders trapped in Globex going into RTH? Are they long? Are they short? How much? We're looking for inventory corrections to trade, right? And does the opening auction have outside sellers? So that's sort of the checklist of what I will go through when I see it. Now, this morning, In the S&P futures, overnight inventory was short, so we knew the initial trade was to the long side, which worked nicely.
Yeah, thank you
It's
so much for
it's
that.
all about inventory, and in stocks, you can tell from that pre-market what I call the ghouls are doing. You know,
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Next question is from Shubham.
Am I audible?
Yes, Shubham,
Yep.
you are.
Hi, JJ.
Hi.
So I logged in, I joined a little late. I'm not sure if this was discussed, but like if I look at cryptos, right? So there's no concept of like open or close. It's like a continuous 24 hours market.
Oh
I
boy.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like I'm not really sure. Like, does market profile works right here, or is there a way, or we just look out for access and balances here, or anything else?
No, inventory is everything in crypto, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crypto is a fascinating market. I track levels for it, and I'm working with SD to get my levels because it's on another software platform, and I'm trying to get it my levels put on for Bitcoin
Mm-hmm.
into onto EXO. I mean onto Go charting, right? But yeah, I definitely find that market profile is wonderful for crypto. Because what you do is you look at the daily sessions, you look at 24-hour sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can come up with levels. Like right now, crypto's sort of in a balance area. The lower
Mm-hmm.
end of that balance is 45,395. The upper end is 46,869. And when it breaks out of that level, you double it to the upside. So the upper target, if it breaks out, will be 49,816. If it breaks to the downside, the lower target will be 42,446, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now trading it is another thing because it is a bit of a Wild West market, right?
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, market profile works. Single prints, it's beautiful. You
Mm-hmm.
can tell where there's going to be responsive buying. You can
Mm-hmm.
tell because shorts are trapped. You can tell by the profile shape where the shorts are trapped. You can tell where the stops are. So the crypto market is a great market because they trade very old school, right? It's like the penny stock market in the 90s. It stop runs all over the place, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
you know where the stops are,
Mm-hmm. It goes in right. I understand. Thanks for that.
Can I ask a continuation to that question, Shubhams? So you're talking about crypto
sure.
and how market profile is so good for crypto. I understand that the crypto market is different from the conventional share market, where in the conventional share market the orders are pulled in through a central exchange. Well, crypto has different exchanges. So how can you be sure that the profile that is being built or the inventory that you say uh, uh, is will be different from one exchange to the other? Wouldn't it be so?
That's the thing. Now I track it on this Bybit BTC USD. So that's what I look at. So what you do is you if you're trading that particular exchange, you track it on that exchange. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure, it does. So that
Right.
exchange will have to be a very liquid and high volume exchange for you to be able to
Ex-
work on the profile thing and all.
yeah, and you don't want to be trading thin markets anyway. They're dangerous,
Yeah,
right? As a retail trader, thin markets are great if you are the one in charge of the order flow,
yeah, absolutely.
right?
The market maker, baby. Then,
Right, right, because then you could use and abuse everybody. But if you're a retail trader, you got to really be careful of thin markets. Now, there's a beautiful chart, right? So you could really use volume, you could use the structure, but you're right because they're not centralized. You really have to you have to focus on the exchange that you're trading, and that order flow, and you really get to know it. It's not something that I've traded a lot of because I missed the whole crypto boat because I'm 54 and I waited too long and I missed it a little bit. But I do find it fascinating.
Arey
And
nahi Anna, you're not that old, yeah.
well, see, us old institutional traders, we age in dog years, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
see,
I've heard that.
multiply 54 by 7, that's my actual age.
So also with crypto, same would be this issue or the situation when you're trading foreign exchange, forex,
Yeah, now Forex is
non-centralized exchanges.
yeah, I haven't traded Forex, to be quite honest with you. That market is something I stayed away from because when I was growing up in the industry, I had a buddy of mine who was on the desk at Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi. He was a currency trader. And, I read Education of a Speculator with Victor Niederhofer, and you know how he's talking about trading a $400 million position. So I always stayed away from markets where you have huge size players and central banks and things like that. But I did run some market profile on, I think it was US dollar, Canadian dollar. The levels worked really nicely, right? Just to show inventory, right? But the actual execution, that's something I can't speak to.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Sir, while considering the profile shape, how many days do we need to consider to get the cumulative profile shape? Because most of the ranges tends to get into the normal distribution shape, right? So do we consider the entire days in that particular range to analyze the profile shape?
Yeah, what I do is I just look at every session separately, right? So like for me in futures, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I'll look at the last overnight session and the profile shape. Now, if you go and look at, let's see, SD, can you pull up a profile on Crab Apple there, Apple, right? I call it Crab Apple. Where is it here? Now, if you look at yesterday's profile, right? Yesterday's profile was a very, very distinct P-shaped profile, right? So you can tell right at 176, yeah, just at $176 in Apple. That's where the shorts were stuck, because every time the market came down to that level, it couldn't break 176 because shorts were stuck there buying, right? Because what had happened was people followed price and got short under 175 over the last couple of days, right? And the profile shape before that, if you look at, that's a B-shaped profile, which is an accumulation profile, right? So the profile directly to the left of that P-shaped profile, they're both green. The first one shows accumulation, and when I see a profile like that, I won't short a profile like that because I see a very wide point of control down there at 173, right? That big white line, and they've been sitting there accumulating, and then they're just going to ram it higher, and that's why there's a short position. So we filled some of that short position in today, right? The orange profile to the right of that, right? That you can see it filled in a little bit, and now Apple's trading 175. So now the market, we found some supply and we're filling in those shorts, but that's basically how I look at these things. So if I saw Apple on the 4th and I was trading Apple and it liquidated down because it broke 175, liquidated down, and you see how it sort of based around 172, right? When it started putting in that B-shaped profile, that's when I know the size traders are accumulating down there. Dalton calls a B profile long liquidation, but it's kind of leaves out the rest of the sentence. It's long liquidation into size hands, right? And then those size hands take the market and sell what they accumulated in that chunk of that B profile between 176 and 178, and they did it in the overnight and pre-market. And then today, of course, they sell the market down, and now they're going to sell that market down to their cost basis, or where do they find the next size buyer?
All right. Yeah, you sir.
Parag, can you go on mute, please? Thank you.
Dinner time.
Hello, hi JJ. I've just got a question for you. Something you mentioned earlier. This is Vinaya, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
You said something about you offering like trading room access to learn more about market profile and VWAP trading. Is that right?
Yep, definitely.
So, what's the prerequisite? Are you expected to know basics of market profile? Is that something you
No,
teach during the
no.
session?
Actually, the less you know, the better, because you don't have any bad habits.
So, are we
Right?
saying then that you're covering some basics before
Oh
you
yeah,
join the room? Or?
yeah,
You do.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 101 classes, and my girlfriend is a anesthesiologist, and sometimes she works on Saturdays. So a lot of Saturdays I'll do profile 101s and question and answer things, and I'm always available in the room. I'm in there, at 7:30 GMT in London. So I'm not sure what that is in India or wherever you are. And I'm there pretty much all day until the close of business in New York. So yeah, it's and we're really hands on, and Steve, my business partner who runs everything, he's like, make sure you give him a promo code, so I'll give you guys that at the end of the session. And we charge, basically it's like paying for a Starbucks every day. Actually, it's cheaper than Starbucks. That place is a little overpriced. you know and we
And
keep
MicroeFutures.com. That's your website, isn't it?
that's my website. Yeah,
Okay.
that's our website. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hey JJ, this is Raghu.
Hey, Raghu.
Do you have any YouTube playlist with these 101s you have done before?
Yes, definitely. It's I'll get you the website 1 second. It's on YouTube, and it is, let me just pull it up here. It's the Beyond the Trades website, and all my sessions, a lot of my sessions are on there. And
I think many people here are basically looking for some of those 101 topics to
sure
cover.
thing. Yeah, no problem at all. I don't know if I can post. Is there a chat in this
Yes,
room
in the
somewhere?
bottom bar, JJ, there is a chat. So in the bottom bar, there's a bunch of buttons you might be able to see.
Yeah.
One of them at the far right, on the far right in the bottom, there's a chat.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah, that's the one.
So there's my YouTube page, and here's the MicroeFutures site, and we're very our trading room is very relaxed. We have a lot of really sharp people in there, so it's the atmosphere is, we've had traders in there that make 150 million a month. And then we have guys who trade one micro contract with a very small account who are just starting out. And the big ones will help the little ones. There's no ego. I've tried to make it very, very, very friendly for people, and not at all intimidating.
Awesome. So I think we have another 10 minutes to go. In this 10 minutes, can we do a quick round of Nifty futures? JJ, you look at the chart and you tell us what is your thoughts on this.
Sure. I definitely, I don't mind. Let's take a look. And this will be, honestly, this will be my first time looking at them, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So quick futures. All right. So this is your profile. This is a 30-minute chart.
Okay. So these are okay. All right. So, and each one of these profiles is a different day, right?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, this is beautiful, beautiful. Because if you look at those profiles from, let's see, the 17th to the 29th,
Mhm.
right? That's your position right there, and then the volume profile will back me up because that you can see that time.
Yeah, we can add the volume profile.
No, you got it. You got it already. Well, you've got it. You've got the composite, right?
Yeah, I got it.
So yeah, so all you need to do is, what I would do is I would look at that as a balance area, right? And I'd draw a box, like I'd pick a high and a low, right? I'd probably take the low of the 22nd and the high of the 23rd, right? And I'd use that as a balance area.
So low of 23rd,
No, low of the 22nd,
low of the 22nd.
right? Yeah. And then the high of the 23rd. And I'd use that as a balance area. And then I'd take that area and I'd double it to get the upper target. So
Oh,
whatever that range is, right?
So you just take it down from here to here like that.
Yeah. And then another one up, right? So your upper target's going to be that sort of 18,311 area, I think it is, right?
Yes.
And you can see it's working because they acquired all that beautiful position there. Then they started marking it up, 3 days of balance, right? And then on the 4th, you have that P profile, just like Apple. So the
Yeah.
shorts are stuck right at the base of that P at the bottom of the box, right? So what you do is now you know that when the market comes down to that level, right, which is just what, 17,000, just the base of that P profile right there. Yeah, you were right there. Go up a bit, right? Keep going up. Keep going there. Bingo, right? When the market when the market gets down to that area, now that's an area where you will expect to see buying. Now, what you use that area, how you use that is when the market comes down to that area, if it comes down and touches it and bounces, that means you don't have that much supply to fill in the buy orders that are waiting there, right? If the market breaks through that area, you actually have supply, right? So you can tell everything by that. That's beautiful. Well, this will be fun. This is nice. And you can see the accumulation and now the distribution, right? That's very nice. Oh, that's really nice.
I don't know, JJ, if you know it, but the futures and options market, the derivative market in NSE or in India is now the most, I think, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is the most voluminous exchange in the world as far as derivative.
Yeah, you're right. I read
Yes,
that
you're
somewhere.
right. It was in news this month.
It must be because of the population, right? And
That's very true.
And
like,
COVID.
I mean, let's
And-
face it. I'm South Asian too. Like, I'm half Indian, half Sri Lankan. I mean, Indian people are, they're the ones who write all the algos, right? It's
Yeah, I was
like,
reading somewhere.
uh,
I heard somewhere that the Indians they are the most adept, or I mean, they by algo trading they have a very large volume of people who do algo trading currently, even on the retail level.
Oh yeah, math, science. I mean, that's our thing, right? That's definitely our thing. So, you look at any brokerage house. There's always. I mean, when I was in the brokerage firm, there was just a small group of us. And I didn't grow up in India or anything like that, but they included me anyway, which was nice of them. They used to call me an Oreo because I grew up in Canada. But it's funny. But yeah, this is great. I love this. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. And what I'd like to do is once I actually learn more about this, I can teach market structure to you folks, and maybe do like an hour at a time in India where the traders would be accessible, on Zoom.
Yeah, that would be awesome, guys. Like,
You know?
let's plan this out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
definitely.
fun.
AJ, they did a
just-
half-an-hour program on Indian traders on the BBC recently.
Oh, did they really?
Really interesting. It was in COVID time, and it showed
cool.
how people were adapting their earning power, and that's how I got into the Nifty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I mean.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Raj. Raj is one of my guys who's in my room. He's been with me since the beginning.
Hey guys, hey Raj. So JJ, quick question. So when you say inventory, you mean to say you refer the order books? You look into the books and try to see bid ask?
No. The inventory you can see, brother, from the chart. So if you look at this Nifty, right, that inventory is from the 17th to the 29th, right? That chunk of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, right, that we initially drew that box down there, that is our inventory. So you take that inventory and now we're selling it above 17,900, right? So that is
okay.
that's how I talk. That's how you see inventory. And then you don't have to worry about order books and everything, because once you know how to look at a chart and look at a chart from the perspective of somebody who actually makes charts, right? Who builds them out, then you change the way you think about trading, because you'll always look to the left and then you'll say, oh, if you're thinking maybe over 18,300, you'll pull up a longer time frame on the Nifty and see what kind of supply is over 18,300, right? And then you'll know where you'll find resistance if the market starts going higher.
Hey JJ, this is Raghu again. So you say
thanks, JJ.
Inventory from these 5 days is basically is available, and then that's what's available for buying after that.
Well, no, that inventory from these 5 days is currently being sold over 17,900.
So how do you I was kind of thinking that in the futures market, the number of people who hold positions overnight is going to be very less. Is my understanding wrong? I mean,
no, you're almost there. You're just missing one little element. See, in every market, now I don't know Indian markets that well, but I know in US capital markets, in every market, there are size wholesale traders. Now, I need to learn about order flow in India. When you put your order in, does that go to a market maker? Does that go to a brokerage house? Do they sell you the product out of inventory, or is there an order matching engine where your order matches up with another retail person? From looking at this chart looks like a wholesale driven market, right? Where there's always, in any market, there are always going to be size traders who accumulate big positions, hold them and mark them up and sell them.
JJ.
Yes.
I think you got speak to Steve, but I think it would be really beneficial to do a Nifty session for these guys live.
I'd love to do it. I just need to know. I just need to be aware of the time change.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's Steve, guys. Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, yeah, to expand on what you just said, we would absolutely love to expand the MicroeFutures room to have a session daily, if possible, on Nifty, and a specific channel room where not only does JJ teach you market profile, which is done in MicroeFutures, but we can have it tailored specifically for the Nifty too. So if that is interest on your part, we're very open to doing that.
That sounds really exciting, guys.
Yep.
Enroll me in.
But there's one exception. It will be using the Go charting software, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
But can I chime in here? My background is I'm a photographer. I do fine art photography, and then a few years ago I had to stop. So I found JJ from YouTube, and I started looking at these crazy charts, he calls them. and it took me a little bit of time to understand how he spoke, and because I'm a total novice about the exchange. But once you understand how price moves with inventory, and where the structure is totally life changing. But you
Yeah, I
need
believe
to
Raj
really,
can view the picture better since he's a
yeah,
photographer, no?
you need to come in with a very, very fresh mind and a clean mind, and try to block out the noise of the whole industry, which is what JJ does, and you have to believe that it works. Thank you.
Thank you.
JJ, just a follow-up question to what you just told about Nifty futures. We marked out that that part where there's some accumulation going on, and then currently it's in some distribution.
Yes.
It sounds very similar to something in price action they call consolidation, markup, and then distribution.
Exactly.
My question though was with market profile, don't you get like more of a ballpark figure where things are happening like consolidation or distribution? How do you get the accuracy?
The accuracy is just a function of screen time. I have videos in our room on how I pull up levels and how I build out charts, and you'll see. And listen, I wasn't a top student compared to most of you guys, right? So, but when my levels work to the penny or to the tick in a lot of different instruments, it's profile. It works once you pick a balance area and double it, and then you just keep cutting those balance areas into half and into a quarter and into an eighth. You'll see how responsive the levels are. It's absolutely astounding. It's the simplest way of finding targets, but also the most accurate. And it's really, really undiscovered because a lot of people never really talk about it.
Okay.
But the accuracy of market profile is mind-boggling. Like I'll be able to tell you in the S&P or in Apple, or I remember we were doing that LCID stock, and I was able to call out a level, and we actually got there to the penny, on a big run up, and it was like $39.78, and I told people if the stock broke over 28.56, and this is back in October of last year, it broke 28.56, and I said our target is 39.78. We went there to the penny. So it's just mind-bogglingly accurate how it works.
Okay. And we're also talking intraday here, not just like daily or weekly targets.
We can do it daily, weekly. I can tell you if a market looks above a certain level and doesn't accept, it's going to come back down to a certain level. For swing traders, we can use it on a day time frame. However, whatever you want to do, we can make it work for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can use it with candles. Like, for example, if a market has really, really big ranges and it's hard to trade, then we can use a 1 and 5 minute candles using the same principles that market profile teaches us, but we translate it on a candle chart so you can see short-term inventory moves very, very precisely.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have used up 1 hour of our time. And if there are no more questions, I don't know, I would like JJ to give his closing remarks. And Steve, you can probably chime in as well. From my end, it's been an absolute pleasure having you, JJ, in this session. And I can speak on behalf of our customers as well.
Thank you so much. I really look forward to, thank you for having me. I really look forward to diving more into, Indian markets and, being of some use to you folks there. I've put in our promo code for our room. Come check us out. I'm on Twitter as well. And our Beyond the Trades YouTube page, I put a link in there. Ask questions. I answer people on Twitter. I'm always available. And really, really, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise. Raghu, do you have anything else to add?
Thank you. I really appreciate this session. It's really good. Hope to do more soon.
Me too.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a very good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you,
Good
Anna.
night.
Good night.
Hey, Steve.